Let's go, folks. Time for the Gibby Show.
How you doing, baseball fans, and welcome to another edition of the Gibby Show. It is our season premiere, and our show is presented by Miller Lite, the official beer of Major League Baseball and the Gibby Show. We're back for a full season of baseball coverage, giving you all the news, all the insights of the Toronto Blue Jays and everything else happening in the game we love, Major League Baseball. I'm John Arezzi, and let me introduce you to my podcast partner, the former manager of the Toronto Blue Jays 2 times over 10 years, and author of the brand new book, Gibby, Tales of a Baseball Lifer, direct from San Antonio, Texas, John Gibbons. How you doing, Gibby?
Johnny, good, man. It's good to be back with you. You know, we did that little preview last week, and now's the real deal. And but you know what? It also tastes like Miller time.
It does. It does. And it is an exciting day for us. And of course, we had great reaction to the preview show of the season. And now here we are for the season premiere of the Gibby Show. And we're so excited about it. One thing I want to bring up first and foremost, it's been a very busy time for you. Next week, the book comes out, April the 4th. It's been hard to get a hold of you because you've been doing interviews every single day. I mean, how is that right off the top here? I mean, the media that you've been doing has got to be reminiscent of when you were managing in the big leagues, maybe even more so.
Yeah, Johnny, it has been kind of crazy, you know, and I've enjoyed it. I'm not real tech savvy, as you guys know. So to get on all these Zooms or the other stuff, it's like, thank God I got my wife here, you know. But I'm a little bit worn out, so you know what? I just get me a Timmy Hortons in the morning, you know, and then at the end of the day, man, when I'm really dragging, you know, then I get me a Miller Lite, and then I call it a night, watch some baseball, or I'm watching baseball in this next week.
Yeah, it is a big week. It's opening day this week. It's happening, but I do want to address one thing. A big article came out in the Toronto Sun, and it was picked up by everybody. Everybody picked up on it, and it was really about your final months with the organization, with the Toronto Blue Jays, and it comes right from your book. So I just wanted to ask you about that and how you feel about that article that came out, and because it did get picked up everywhere.
Yeah, you know, John, you know, I didn't see it, but you know, some people told me about it. Some people texted me on it. I saw that and I didn't quite understand it, you know, because it's not a hit job by any means, you know, but it's just reality how it all finished, you know, and like I've said all along, you know, Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins have done a really nice job putting together a good team, right?
Great team,
and you know what, and they were good to me. They let me do my job. We didn't agree on everything. We're totally different personalities and all that. But by no means am I taking shots at the guys. I wouldn't have been their first pick. They wouldn't have been mine. You know, that's just the way it is. But you know, I was a little bit surprised by that. But so be it. You know, but I'm excited about the team they put together, and we all want to watch them.
Yeah, great team they've assembled. What a great organization, and they're going to be doing big things this year. So we're here to talk about the Blue Jays, and you wouldn't be even here on this podcast if you didn't have love in your heart, not only for the city of Toronto, but for that team that you wore the uniform proudly for all those years.
Yeah, you know what? I'm a Met and I'm a Blue Jay, and you know what? Just like you're a Met. Yeah, there you go. But I'll be a Blue Jay forever. You know what? I spent most of my life, the important years of my life, up there, and I'm very fond of the country and the cities, and a lot of great friends. Yeah, so they mean a lot to me because you know, we passed the torch. John Schneider's running it now. You know, I'm a friend of Cito Gast, and you like success for the organization, you know, because they were really, really good to me, and the people deserve a good product there, and they're getting it right now.
They are. It's going to be a great season coming up. And speaking about great, we got a great show lined up for everybody today in our season premiere. We will discuss opening day for the Jays, the great finale of that World Baseball Classic. We'll be talking about that. And that incredible ending of the tournament. I can't wait to get into that with you. And our Gabbing with Gibby segment is something I can't wait for when the current skipper of the Toronto Blue Jays, John Schneider himself, will join us. And our Gabbing with Gibby segment is now being brought to you by one of your favorite places, John, Tim Hortons. We're happy to welcome them aboard.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what? I'm excited when I knew we formed that partnership with them. Also, I used to get up every morning, before during the season. I'd walk out my door of the condo I was living in, and there was one right down on the corner, and I'd go hang out there, and it was like clockwork, And there's even some down here in Texas, in the Houston area, and
Well, they're growing. They're growing everywhere. They're so
yeah,
huge, and everybody loves Tim Hortons. And I
and,
know
they're
that.
first class, and we're honored to have them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We totally are honored to have them. So welcome aboard, Tim Hortons. Happy to have you here. And John, now it's time for the leadoff. We have lots to go over. First and foremost, the Blue Jays have 2 more games before opening the season this Thursday in St. Louis when the Jays take on the Cardinals with your buddy, the Bull mentality, Alek Manoah on the mound. How excited are you for the opening of this season and opening day with an interleague game against the Cardinals?
Yeah, Johnny, it's like I'm like everybody. Although I'm not active in the game right now on the field, I'm still a big fan. We all love baseball. We're all following it. That's what's so exciting, to be following a really good team, right? But there's just something about the beginning, the newness of a new season, the anticipation. All the fans look at the moves the organizations make to make themselves better, and the Blue Jays did a lot of nice things, So yeah, there's that adrenaline flowing, even though I'm not in the mix of it anymore. It's just in all our blood, and every baseball fan out there. So yeah, it is kind of strange. You see him opening up in St. Louis.
St. Louis, yeah.
There's a little schedule adjustment this year. It's more balanced schedule, so everybody's going to play everybody, I believe. Right. Yeah. It used to be, we used to open up like in Tampa, it seemed like every year, So I think it's kind of exciting for the game. And then they're heading to Kansas City right next door. Mm-hmm. And then out west, give that place a little time because they got some great and exciting new renovations to the stadium, and make sure everything's ready to go there. So yeah, it's coming off a great year last year and a good year the year before, and I mean they're moving the right direction. The sky's the limit. They're a very talented team. They could go all the way and win it all, right? And so
they really could.
All the little things, it just kind of makes for enthusiasm because there's half the teams out there, maybe more than that, know they have zero shot. The fan base is excited because they're 0-0 and they're tied for first right now. But a month from now, that'll all change, right? But Blue Jays got a chance to win it all. So I know that the whole country's fascinated with that.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a great season, hopefully, as of today, as they finish up their final 2 games of the spring. They had a good spring. They're 17-13. And they will be playing the Phillies today and tomorrow, and then they head to St. Louis for the opener. I want to ask you specifically about a couple of guys. Vladdy, who is back first base. I mean, he had a remarkable and amazing 2021 with 48 home runs last year. Dipped a little bit to 32. I mean, he's one of the key players in this franchise and on that field. What do you think about Vladdy this year? Give us your thoughts about Vladdy.
It's funny when you say dip to 32. Think about that.
That's a big number.
Exactly. I hit 1 in my career, man. He's got 32 in an off year for him, possibly. It's pretty remarkable. You know what? From day one, when the kid was signed, I got to tell you, he's one of the few guys that everybody probably envisioned this or hoping this was going to be, right. He was one of those rare can't miss. The prodigal son, and look at you look at his dad. It's like he can't miss, right? Bichette's another one on the team, right? That comes from great stock, but that's no guarantee. But Vladdy Jr., you know what? He's going to be in the running for the MVP every year. He should be. And I tell you, the most impressive thing, really, if you want to know, is he won the Gold Glove last year. I mean, he started out as a third baseman, and the big question was, can he play over there? I would have said no. I would, because in Encarnacion, I had similar body sizes. He started out as a third baseman. He ended up moving to first and DH. I thought that was a smart move. But now to really work his butt off and win the Gold Glove, and then, that's not easy to do because if there's one primo defensive position on the field, there's a couple of them. First base is it because you handle more throws than anybody. So it really says a lot about what he's accomplished and really how good an all-around player he is.
Yeah, the Jays look for him to have a monster season this year. And then you mentioned Bo. Bo Bichette, and he, of course, was a guest on this show last season. Great guy. He just signed a 3-year deal, which takes him through his arbitration year. So he's getting $33.6 million over the next 3 years. Should make that young man happy. Any predictions about Bo? I mean, there's always been a little question mark about defense, but he's a spark plug. He's a great player. What's your predictions for Bo for this year?
Dude, I think hey, Vo's got a chance to win an MVP some year. He really does. You know what? He's that good a hitter. You track his offense at the beginning of for a young man at the beginning of a career. It's incredible, right? And then, of course, the focus has been a little bit on his defense. I guess people short-sighted. They forget, that Derek Jeter, when he was starting out, made a lot of errors, or they questioned his defense. It's a growing process, right? And he's gonna
Yeah.
You know what? I guess you could get a Gold Glove shortstop out there that couldn't hit a lick, and you got to pinch hit for him in the 5th inning, 6th inning every game. Is that what you want, or you want this kid that could win an MVP and go up there get that big knock? And he's not just a power hitter. He's just a good hitter. And he, he's one of those guys that shows up every day. So
spark plug,
I'm on his bandwagon,
definitely.
No doubt.
Another key element for the Jays this year, and their team has pretty much been set. Just a couple of decisions to make, one or two actually, and right-hander reliever Mitch White looks like he's going to begin the season on the IL, and that opened the door. I don't know if Schneider's made the decision yet, but there's been a lot of talk about a guy from Canada, and his name is Zach Pop, ready to step in and perhaps win that last reliever role on the team. You know much about Zach Pop?
Well, when they required him last year from the Florida Marlins, I don't know much, but I know he's got a good arm. Perfect name, man. The dude that's got some pop on his fastball.
Yeah.
He might even be better if he was a position player. Pop, he's got pop in his bat. So, but he's a Canadian boy that never hurts things, right? And be good to help promote that. But that's what it takes sometimes, for some guys to, even though he pitched for him there last year. Somebody goes down and opens up a door for somebody else, and that's kind of how the game works, and that's kind of how life is, and you take advantage of it. Now the Keys, go out there and do your thing, because they have really a solid rotation, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Manoah and the Gosman, and on down, and Bassett, who they just picked up. And Kikuchi, my understanding is he's had a great camp. He's
had a great camp.
So they're solid there, right? They don't. But sometimes you got to get that ball to Romano at the end, and so everybody's going to be counted on, especially in this day of analytics where starters don't go as long, right? Whether they're capable or not, they just don't. You need those guys, and they get used so much. If you only have 2 or 3 go-to guys, you're in trouble. I mean, look at the Yankees; they burned out their bullpen last year. They were on a historic run. They all came up lame, So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Yankees in a second.
Chad Green. I don't know if Greeny from the Yanks, the Blue Jays side, I don't know if he'll get any action this year because he had Tommy John, I believe it was.
He did.
Yeah, but I tell you, next couple of years, that's a great sign. He's one of the top in the game. So, but they're loaded, man. They got every piece that you need to be, and plus they got the experience. They've been there. They got a good leader, and they added Manning to help stabilize some things. They got a good coaching staff, and you know what? They got some great fans, man, all across. And they got one doggone team in the whole country, man. And you know what? You continue to play well. You know what? You got some support up there.
And John, I got one last item to talk to you about for the leadoff, and I have to ask you about Miller Lite coming aboard as our presenting sponsor. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and we couldn't ask for a better presenting sponsor. We really couldn't. Beer and baseball just go together. And it tastes like Miller time.
It does, and we've always been big fans of Miller Lite.
Oh yeah, and it's a light beer that tastes like real beer. Yeah, we enjoy it. I've been drinking that. I know you said you when you were younger, you used to drink that in college, and that was big around here growing up in Texas. Like I said, when we were legal age. And that was our go-to beer around here.
Well, we're very happy to have him aboard.
Yes, sir.
Corner booths, sticky floors, weekdays that feel like weekends. You never forget the way some things taste. Miller Lite, great taste, 90 calories. Tastes like Miller time.
Now it's time for the first Gabbing with Gibby segment of our new season. And what a great first guest, John Gibbons' book today. And it'll be John Schneider. That's very exciting, the current manager of the Toronto Blue Jays. We're also excited to announce that as of today, this season, Gabbing with Gibby is being brought to you by Tim Hortons.
Oh, hey, Johnny. Hey, I tell you what, I love Timmy Hortons, And think about it, after a long night of watching baseball, man, you get an alarm clock goes off the next morning, man, you got to grab you a big old hot cup of hot Timmy Hortons. Maybe a honey cruller or something, some kind of donut to go with that thing too. So, yeah, we're excited, man. We're really excited.
Yeah, and Roll Up to Win is back as well at participating Tim Hortons restaurants until April the 2nd. Download the Tim's app to play with cars, cash, and millions of coffee and donut prizes to be won. You'll love your chances. Earn rolls on hot and cold drinks, breakfast and lunch items, and this year, every roll also earns an entry for a chance to win a daily jackpot of $10,000 in American Express prepaid cards. There's something for everyone, and everyone will love Tim Hortons 2023 Roll Up to Win.
That's pretty good. Good. Yeah, nice. Are we eligible?
And now it's time for the first Gabbing with Gibby segment of our new season. And what a first guest, Mr. Gibbons. Gibby is booked for the season debut, entering his first season as the manager of the Blue Jays, direct from the Jays spring training facility in Dunedin, Florida. Let's welcome John Schneider. John, how you doing? Nice to meet you.
Likewise, John. Yeah, thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to doing this with Gibby here for a while, but appreciate you having me on.
Oh, this is amazing. I mean, this is such a unique experience when you have the current manager of the Blue Jays, you have the two-time former manager of the club here. How long have you guys known each other? How far back do you go?
I don't even remember the exact date, but I was the guy, trying to get my way over to big league camp as either a player or manager or coach when Gibby was here. He was great to me where he kind of let me kind of come and go as I please, I felt like. But he was, him, DeMarlo Hale, Brian Butterfield, all these guys, Pete Walker even at the time, did an awesome job of including everyone. So, I mean, it probably goes back to, I don't know, Gib, maybe like 2008, 9, 10, something. I forget the years that overlap, but it's been a while.
Yeah. Hey, well, you know what, John, you live down in that area, right? I mean, so what would happen, players would always go down real early. That's what they do nowadays. And John was always there. Did I call you John or Schneider? John sounds almost too official.
John sounds weird to me. I don't know.
Oh, Schneider?
Yeah.
So Schneider would always be there, and the guys would come early. He'd throw BP to him every day, and one of the few guys that do it. I mean, so it's valuable to a team, and it's kind of a thankless job. But I've got to preface that by saying there's not a better BP in all of professional baseball anywhere than what Schneider's throw. Clayton McCullough, you and Clayton might be close, but so anyway, so what we'd do is we'd start camp, and John would always throw the A group because the best players on the team always want to hit off him. They didn't want to hit on guys like me or lesser guys, or couldn't throw very good BP. And then when the camp would start to break, minor league players would show up, and John was supposed to go down there with his team. We made sure that we keep him around as long as we could, and so he's very valuable. And I'm just proud to see where he is now. It's he took a route kind of like I did. We were both catchers. We both grinded trying to make it to the big leagues. It didn't work out that way. We both got into coaching and coached in the minor leagues, and we're both catchers. So I'm proud of him. He's earned this spot. And I got to tell you before I let you ramble, I'm not stealing the whole show here, dude. I'm saying the job he did last year. I mean, everybody thinks, well, he came in, the team was, in a decent spot, right? But he had a tougher job than, when I took over, the team stunk. It didn't matter. I took over, they fired the manager. I took over, and it didn't matter what happened, right? John had the pressure on him. He's got to redirect his team because they're sputtering, and he's got to move in the right direction. Got him in the playoffs, and so I got to tip my hat to you, pal. It doesn't surprise me. I will tell you that, though.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that coming from you, but it was tough where it was wow, overnight change, and you try to do things a little bit differently, or you try to just get the ship back on course a little bit without overdoing it and saying I'm in charge. It was really cool that I've had relationships with a lot of the players down from the minor leagues in the last couple of years. Same with the staff too. You know, it was the same guys we've been with for a number of years. So it was tough, but it was fun for sure. But I appreciate you saying that. It was a great experience.
I have a it's your first spring training as manager. This time of year, and John, you went through it for 10 years. It's the end of spring training. The season's about to start. There's got to be butterflies. There's got to be excitement and anticipation. Walk us through, both of you. I mean, what this time of year means to you and how it affects you mentally and what butterflies you have. I'd love to just hear both of your perspectives as a 10-time manager and the first full season for you, John.
It's butterflies. Yeah, I think you want to get the season going. You want to get out of here with everyone being healthy. And you just want to make sure that you're prepared. You want that you checked all your boxes. Guys know where they're going on certain plays, and guys have enough at bats. And I think we've done a good job of really kind of double checking our work to make sure that's done, so you don't hit the plane tomorrow and go, oh man, we didn't do this or that. You know, it's a lot, but I think I'm more excited than anything. I feel like we've covered all of our bases here. Guys are chomping at the bit, and it's a bit more of a veteran group, so they got a good feel for it too. So that always helps. But for me, it's just making sure that everything that we wanted to accomplish, we accomplished. And I think as we're talking about it as a group, we said, okay, yeah, job well done.
Yeah, it's a grind. The spring training gets long. Everybody bitches about it. It's too long, and it really could be. But you got to get your pitcher work in, right?
Yeah, it's always
hey, one thing I'll say about you, Schneid, just for being you're a very prepared guy, right? You're very organized, and you'd run things down there and help us out. And you know what? You got these guys' confidence. That's everything. If these guys believe in you and they trust you, you got it. I mean, it's over half the battle, right? X's and O's factor in, obviously, and you got to have the talent. But these guys know you got their back, man, and that's gonna be what's gonna put you over the top again,
Yeah, I learned that by watching you interact with players, whether they're young or veteran dudes, and you were just so relatable. You know what I mean? And I think back to guys that I played for in the minor leagues, and it's just like at the end of the day, they're people. They just want to have a conversation and have you be honest with them. So having their back, going to bat for them, it makes tough conversations easier. At the end of the day, we're trying to win. And if you're not pissed off at me for something, if you're not playing, then I'm concerned because you want to get in there. But it's, I think they all know that. I've known a lot of them for a long period of time. But Gibby, you've hit the nail on the head, man. It's strategy aside and all that kind of stuff. They got to know that you're in it with them. That's
right. And I watch some games. When you go to bat for these guys, you argue, right, with umpires and all. Because people used to say, they asked me about ejections or whatever, and I'm thinking, the number one thing, if you want these guys to fight for you, you sure as heck better fight for them, right? It goes hand in hand. And you got to do that. When I was there, we had a bunch of whiners. Batista, Donaldson. You know them. Yeah, I mean that was their reputation. They weren't necessarily well liked around the league. And so the umpires couldn't stand it either. And so they would stick it to us as much as they could without the videos checking.
Right.
But still, there was clearly times they were sticking it to us. So you got to do it. That's part of it. That way you're all in it. Because the worst thing you can have happen, and I used to see it too at places I played and stuff, is you hear players go, "Hey, God, the manager on the other team, he fights for other guys. Our guy doesn't do nothing." So it's that's what the part of it,
Exactly. You don't want to be that guy. I remember that, like everything that Hosey and Eddie didn't and Donaldson didn't swing out. If it was called a strike, they were getting pretty pissed. If you're out there with an early shower in the fourth, like every other day. I got a long way to go to catch your record though. I mean, some of your ejections were pretty good.
Dude, well, you can't, man, because there's instant replay now. You can't do it.
All you can do is yell about balls and strikes now. That's all you can do.
Hey, I've been wanting to ask you this too, though, because they're going to make sure you got this in your deal, right? Because the ball club used to pay my fines for ejections, right? Because if they didn't, there would probably be less of them, right? I just got to make sure they're still paying your fines when you get chunked. If not, you better make a visit to Ross up there.
They're good. They take care of me. I mean, that's not making an everyday occurrence. You know what I mean? You have yeah. No, they're if I'm backing the players, man, they're all for it.
I got you. Well, tell us, how's the team look? You feel good? Everything? Any surprises or?
Not really, which I think is a sign of a good camp. I mean, it's a cool group. It's a very unique group, man. When you look at the guys that we've had here, Bo, Vlad, Biz, Jano, Romano, this young core they're ready to win. And then I think you add in, Chris Bassett, Kevin Kiermaier, Dalton Varsho, who is going to be a fan favorite. I mean, in a hurry. This dude is a bulldog, and he is a gamer.
So he catches too, huh?
He catches. I mean, emergency catcher. He caught like 30 games last year, and he's been doing some drills here. We're not going to seek it out, but we know we have it in our back pocket.
Right.
Brandon Belt, Eric Swanson, these dudes, they're ready to win. I mean, they're here to win. So yeah, we're excited. I think it takes a little bit of pressure off those young cats to try to do more than what they should. It allows guys like Whit Merrifield and Matt Chapman to kind of be themselves, and they're comfortable after having a year under their belt. So it's a pretty cool mix of people, and not just players. I mean, it's a fun clubhouse, and we're excited. You know what I mean? We've been chomping at the bit because everyone's checking all their boxes. They're ready to roll. So it's we feel good about it.
We're talking to the Toronto Blue Jays current manager John Schneider, and you're listening to Gabbing with Gibby, brought to you by Tim Hortons.
Miramichi is the roll-up to win capital of Canada, and we're meeting the winners who rolled and won the most last year.
I couldn't believe that I won a Volkswagen SUV. I thought it was an April Fool's joke.
It's back with a new daily $10,000 jackpot plus millions of other prizes. Get rolling on the Tim's app for a chance to win.
Some of the rule changes, right? Is that pretty much, is that gone fine or?
It's been all right. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I think the time in between pitches, it kind of cuts out the crap, the game. It does speed it up a little bit. The in between inning timer stuff, it gets a little bit hairy. If you're a second or two late here, or if you're a catcher on the bases and you got to sprint in and sprint out. The league has been pretty good with kind of using some feel as spring went on, and they've updated the rules a little bit. The shifting, I think, is going to be a big part of it. Base hits up the middle or back, years past, it's just like, hey, get the pitcher out of there because we got 7 infielders back here. You know what I mean? So,
hey, us crappy hitting catchers, man, we need some more of that. We got a few more hits,
Exactly. I would have went from like 210 to like 217, but
that's better than mine would. Hey, I got to ask you a question because I saw this the other night. Remember in the WBC, right? Mm-hmm. It was Ohtani versus Trout to end it all. Did you notice the pitch clock on that? And I know they weren't using it, but for that final at bat, the greatest at bat in the history of baseball.
Right. Could you imagine if that gets crammed into 12 seconds? You want to watch that thing. You want to watch that unfold and see the gamesmanship between two of the greatest players on the planet, right? So it's
because they were up around 30 seconds between pitches. Yeah. It's like, oh gosh, we're gonna have a nightmare here.
I know. It is.
They'll eliminate it. The last few innings, they'll come to say, you know what, these last 7th, 8th, 9th inning or 8th or 9th. When there's drama,
Yeah, guys are kind of talking about it to where, we understand where the pace of the game is. It is better. The 3.5 hour games are kind of no more. But like when you're in that crunch time, 8th, 9th inning, and it's like everything's on the line. Hey, let's let it play out a little bit. So they've talked about it, even when they put the rules into place. I would assume there's probably going to be some tweaks to it as it goes. Maybe not this year, but in years to come. But yeah, man, it's like you got playoff game, World Series, and you got the closer out there. It's like, hey, let's watch this unfold.
Exactly. Hey, you know what else too? When you're managing, I would think anyway. When everything's starting to speed up a little bit, that they want these guys quicker. There comes a part of your strategy sometimes when you're getting a guy going in the pen, right? And you want this guy out to slow down. You want to slow down, and the catcher can only go. It's like, it's kind of like that. The relievers, they got to throw more than one hitter, right? That kind of thing. Right. It kind of messes with strategy a little bit in the game of, you get some guys, for some reason, you get some guy loses it quick, and you want to get a guy going quick, and this guy's out there. You go. It affects more than people think, I think.
It is. It's like, how many mound visits do we have? Can we step off the rubber here? Can we call time? All that stuff is like, man, all right, hold on a minute. But I mean, me and Pete, you know Pete. I mean, we're like obsessive about it. Oh, make sure we get down there in time. Oh, you got to get this there. I mean,
well, you got to be though. You got to be.
But it is a thing now with the rules, especially. It's just like it happens quick. I think having the rules in spring was good because you kind of saw how it unfolded. Even though your bullpen scripted in spring training, but it's like, man, you got to be ahead of the game here.
Yeah. Hey, well, Petey, man. Hey, Petey's good, isn't he?
He's the best, man. I've known him forever. I just like working with him before I stepped into the role last year. We did a lot of stuff together, me and him. But having him next to me in the dugout is, I mean, I couldn't ask for a better guy next to me, man. Just with his experiences, his demeanor, he's the best in the business as far as I'm concerned.
Well, he thinks the world of you too, yeah. So we're excited, man. So one other thing I want to talk about, the kind of more of a balanced schedule, right?
That's going to be different. I mean,
I think it's great though. I mean, I don't care. People kind of take it for granted. I think the American League East is the toughest division. The National League East, Johnny will disagree because he's a Met guy, right? Oh. But it's like, yeah, but year after year, and it, the fact that you guys, you got in last year, won that many games, and then you look at the competition. It takes its toll on you when you play 17 or 18 times a year. You beat you. So if you're going to have a true wild card and get a true read, you got to be playing the same, or every team about the same amount of time. Otherwise, because you get into like that Central or some places and they have an off year and there's, like maybe like last year the Twins about the only one.
Right.
I mean they can fatten up on that where you're sitting there, grinding it out with the Yanks, the Tampa, Baltimore's on the move.
Yeah,
it makes a difference. So you guys, it's not going to be any easier, but I think you got to like that little, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we were really good, I think, against Boston last year, happened to be really good against them. And that kind of made our season and broke their season, you know what I mean? Just in head to head. And it can happen the other way around, you know what I mean? And you're playing those teams, New York, Tampa, Baltimore, Boston. It's like, damn, when's the break? You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's tough. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out, and not just for our division, but I think, like you said, some of those other divisions where, there's some pretty big gaps between the top and bottom. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Well, you know what? I can't believe they got it through, because the story we used to get when we used to bitch and moan about it, and there's no crying, right? There's no crying in baseball, right? But it was like, all the teams in the American League East, the owners, they don't want to change it because, when the Yankees or Red Sox would come to town, now the Blue Jays, exactly. So how they got it through, who knows, man? But they did.
I know they did. I know it's we were a little bit unsure about it, but it was we're glad they did. Hey, look who rolled in, Gib.
Oh my gosh! Did he
look at his hair?
His hair? I thought you were retiring. Hey, is he still getting them guys blown up at home plate?
He's been on a roll. He's been good. He's been good. We're a little faster than when he was rolling around like Kendrys Morales and Smokey and those guys.
Hey, Louie's another one of the best, man. Gosh, dog, you guys got a good staff. How's Mattingly, man? Is that
He's been awesome. It was cool. Like, I joke with him. I grew up in New Jersey. I grew up a Yankee fan, not a Met fan, but a Yankee fan. And Donnie was like the dude, right? So he was, one of my favorite players. It's been cool to get to know him. And we started talking in the off season. He leaves Miami, and it was kind of like, all right, this could be cool. We align on a lot of stuff, and he obviously baseball lifer. Been in basically every situation, should be in the Hall of Fame as a player, this kind of stuff. So we're talking through it, and there was some initial from people, around the organization. They're like, hey, you sure you want a cat like this coming in with his background? I'm like, man, it's this is for the team. This is to make us better. And he's been unbelievable, humble. He's trying to learn from me. He's learning things from me that I thought, like, holy cow, that's cool. And I'm learning things from him that I kind of expected to learn. But right. The players more so, they're drawn to him. I think that it's a great sounding board for those guys to have. You see him and Bo; they're like inseparable in the dugout, talking hidden. Nice. But it's been a really cool, different voice is cool. A guy with like instant credibility is great. So picking his brain on things like that, I mean, you can't ask for a better setup. He's been tremendous.
Yeah, you know what? He's you know I don't really know him. I met him a couple times and just talked to him briefly. Just a class act, you know. I was a big fan. You know, I watched him and Keith Hernandez when he was the first base. The two New York guys, you know, and the two primos, right?
Right.
And I thought, you know what? So when you guys hired him, I thought that's a good move because Donnie, from my impression and whatever I hear about, is just a good guy. He's humble. He loves to help. You know, that's what I always heard. So.
And you hit the nail on the head. And he's like a coach at heart. We were talking about it in the offseason. Like, I think out of the manager role, I mean, you see him, he's like every day with Vlad at first. He's in the cage. I mean, he's grinding. He appreciates the work part of it. So, but yeah, man, just like steady Eddie, you know, class act. He's been doing it for a while for a reason.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Vladdy, dude, I tipped my hat to you guys, man. Gold Glove last year, huh?
Hey, Louis, I should bring Louis back in. But I mean, we were
Louis, he don't mess with the corner guys. He just messes with
exactly.
He's the guys.
Vladdy, I mean, credit to him, you know, coming up as a third baseman and like, you know, we were kind of like, okay, that may be a stretch, and then moving to first, and we said, okay, there's some real opportunity here. He works his ass off. I mean, the work that he puts in defensively is pretty cool, and it translates into games. The work he's done this spring training, I mean, he's on a mission. I mean, he is as focused as I've ever seen him in every phase of the game.
He's healthy. His knee's fine.
He's good. He's playing today, playing tomorrow. You know, he's good to go. But man, he works, and it's awesome to see him kind of get rewarded for it.
Yeah, you got a good bunch, man. You're leading the way. Hey, before we let you go, because we know you got work to do.
Yeah.
We got to talk about your not only you're a good manager on that field, man. You're leading and a big time leader, right? Off the field, dude, you're like a paramedic or something.
All right. So the story. So this is like I was talking to someone. It might have been like Hazel. I think we're talking to Hazel. She's asking about dinner places, and I said, "Oh, this place." And I said, "Hey, funny story." I said, "I did the Heimlich maneuver at that place a couple weeks ago,
like some dance or something."
And it was like. It was right place, right time. This lady's just like standing up, and I'm like, I was there with my wife, and I'm like, I think she's choking. So I kind of wandered over, and no one at her table was doing anything. So I kind of went into like, hey, I think I learned this back in middle school or grade school, and kind of just did what I thought was right, and it worked. But the best part was the restaurant gave me a free beer. I was like, one beer? What is this?
Oh, no kidding! For crying out loud.
Free beer.
Well, right place, right time, I guess. Right place, right time.
Hey, Johnny, you know, we laugh and have fun. You know what? That's pretty awesome. You know, because if I was in that situation, I don't know what I'd do. I don't even. I didn't learn how to do it, but I'm thinking to react in calm. It's kind of like you as a manager. I could tell right there. I mean, no. I guarantee you there was no panic. Right? Most people, probably me too, would go, "What do we do? What do we do?" You know.
Right.
So, dude, man, hey, good. There's your civic duty. But for crying out loud, one beer, that's all you got to anyway. But that don't matter.
It was lunch. It wasn't dinner. It was lunch. So one was good.
Yeah. Well, man, that's awesome. Good for you, man.
Thank you.
Hey, John, that question. I mean, spring training is about over, getting ready for the season. Who stood out to you? I mean, which young guy stood out? Like, who made a really big impression on you that may not be ready for this season, but who did it for you this year?
There were some young pitchers in camp. I mean, I think we all kind of heard about Ricky Tiedemann, you know, big left-handed prospect. I mean, he's the real deal. The kid that started a couple of days ago, Sim Reverse, young kid, right-hander. These dudes are impressive, not just stuff, but like sitting and having conversations with them about their expectations and their routines. It's like, wow, for 21-year-old kid, you know, I mean, they're pretty dialed in. I mean, they jump out. I think from our team though too, like guys that have been here that are just hitting the ground, like Bichette stuck out. I mean, Vladdy stuck out. You know what I mean? Like the guys that you think would, but I mean, just their demeanor coming into camp was something different than I've ever seen. So that kind of stuff, you kind of look back and go, all right, man, they're ready to have a big year. But but the young guys that are coming, it's been nice to see them kind of, you know, in-game action.
What about Bassett?
Oh man, Bassett. I mean, you ever want to get him on a podcast? He could talk for about 2 hours because he's a baseball junkie. I mean, we heard about him. We was like, all right, obviously a great pitcher, kind of had to reinvent himself, but great teammate and unbelievable competitor. I mean, I'm going to have a tough time taking the ball from him, but he's done such a good job in a short amount of time of really fitting in. helping guys like Alek Manoah, helping younger relief pitchers. I mean, he'll sit there and talk the game for hours. So he's kind of been as advertised to where you know exactly what you're going to get when he's out there. And Gibby knows that's just like the ultimate comfort factor as a manager. You know what I mean? You put that guy out there and you know what you're getting. And Bass has been that way. He's been a total professional, and really, really rubbing off in the clubhouse.
Yeah, I was so impressed with him last year with the Mets. He was just incredible, focused. And when you gave him the ball, he was the most reliable pitcher on the staff last year for the Mets.
Yeah, I mean, nothing, crazy. He doesn't jump out at you with velo and all this stuff. But, I mean, he is reliable is such a good word. Like, you're getting 5 or 6 quality innings every single night. And if he's dialed in, he's going more. But it's cool to have that guy kind of be a stabilizing force.
Hey, well, you guys made some great moves, man. You balanced out your roster. I know there was talk, you want to get some little more left-handed in there. We went through that. It's tough sometimes when you get so many good right-handed hitters. It's still a tough lineup, but you make it when you're so right-handed dominant, you make it so much easier on the opposing team coming in there. They can just run. They just unload their bullpen right-handers against you because there's only maybe 1 or 2 lefties anyway. So. And some pretty good, some pretty good additions today. So we're all looking forward to it, Johnny. I just wanted to say thanks for coming on, pal. We're proud of you, man. And you know what? Just keep sticking that chest up. And remember to have Pete Walker. Because Pete used to. I don't know if he's still doing it. I mentioned this to somebody that was Noah last year. So Pete used to sit on that next to me. He'd be over there like, oh, Pete, you hyperventilating? What are you doing, man? Relax. This is out of your control, man. You've been working with this guy. He's out there, man, in the lion's den, man. Just watch it and smile. But he used to ask about it. We used to laugh about that.
You told me that last year. You reached out when I got the job, and you're like, "Hey, make sure Pete's not hyperventilating next to you. He'll get going. He's on the mound again." I was giving him crap. I forget what game it was, but I was like, "Hey, man, Gibby warned me about this. You're a mess right now." But he's awesome. We have fun with it. But thank you for having me on, Gibby. I could sit here and talk to you all day, man. And again, I want to just say thank you for how you treated me, man, when you were here in this spot. It's cool to be here now in this spot. But loved being around you, and can't say thank you enough for how you treated me.
Well, Johnny, it's easy when guys are good guys and hardworking guys, and you know what? And they got everybody our best interest at heart, and we appreciate you. And we're sitting back here wishing you the best of luck. Go do your thing. And like I said, she keeps sticking that chest out, man.
Right.
And
that's right. Exactly.
All right, pal. We're proud of you, man. Good luck.
Thanks, Have a great season.
All right. Thanks, guys.
That was Gabbing with Gibby, brought to you by Tim Hortons. And Gibby, what a great interview that was with John Schneider. Great guy.
Yeah, hey, Johnny's good, man. He's the Blue Jays are in good hands. They really are. He proved that last year. Players love him. They'll fight for him. You know what? He's paid his dues. He's an ex-catcher. That always helps. And I'm proud of him. I know him. We wish him well, and I think they're going to have a great season.
Yeah, I think so too. And I do want to remind everybody the Gibby Show is presented by Miller Lite, and now something new, inspired by our friends over there at Miller Lite. I thought we'd do a little roast and toast for the week. This is something that Miller Lite, they do in their messaging. And for you, John, what was your roast of the week?
John, when I was watching that, we got all excited about the WBC in the final at bat, Ohtani versus Trout, right? Mm-hmm. And it was historic, and it was a perfect ending to a great tournament and all that. But did you notice the pitch clock on that thing? I don't think they were following those rules, but
no.
It was probably up around 30 seconds in between pitches, But the drama, that's what people love, We want to try to drum up interest in the game. That's what they want to see. So ideally, I would love to see maybe can the pitch clock in the 7th, 8th, 9th innings, at least the 8th and the 9th, just because that's where the game happens. It's won and lost.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, put it at the end of the game. Let the guys, there's drama and the game's on the line in those late innings. So definitely agree with you there. And what about your toast of the week? Who are you toasting this week, John? Well,
still WBC on a good note, though. You know what? You look at the success of it, the response around the world. There was some great ball played, and there was some dramatics, right? And I think it's really good for the game. I had to question some things about the injuries and things like that. maybe you can't do anything about that, but it was a boom for the business in baseball around the world. It sure was.
Yeah, and that was roast and toast, and maybe we'll do that again in future episodes here at the Gibby
Well,
Show.
yeah. Well, now we got a toast with Miller Lite. By the way, we got it
Yes, we
because
do.
it tastes like Miller time.
That's exactly right. It certainly does.
Corner booths, sticky floors, weekdays that feel like weekends. You never forget the way some things taste. Miller Lite, great taste, 90 calories. Tastes like Miller time.
And John, before we wrap it up, I want to get your predictions for this 2023 upcoming season. Who are your picks?
Well, Johnny, I'm going to go Blue Jays in the East, White Sox in the Central, and the defending champions down there in Houston. All right, out west. I'll leave the wild cards up for grab right now because the biggest feat is to win your division outright.
Yes.
And then you flip it over and go in the National League. I got to go with the Braves, the Cardinals, and I think the Dodgers are going to edge out the Padres. I just that's what my gut tells me. Because they got I think as talented as the Padres are, I think the Dodgers just expect to win.
Yeah. Any predictions for World Series matchup?
Oh, that's gonna be the Blue Jays and the Braves, man. My last two employers, and I might even go to a game.
You might even go to a game. I tell you, I'm right there with you, though. In both American and National League, I predict the Blue Jays, the White Sox, and the defending world champion Houston Astros in the AL. I predict the Atlanta Braves, the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Hey, great minds think alike.
Exactly, but I am going to change, my opinion for the World Series because I think the Mets are going to sneak in on one of the wild card spots, and then they're going to catch fire, and then the World Series this year is going to be the New York Mets against the Toronto Blue Jays.
Ooh, be a good one.
I'll go to one of those games for sure. Those are our predictions.
Just as long as everybody doesn't think we're being homers here. The Blue Jays are that good; they could win it all.
John, I've become a Blue Jays lover. I mean, I've been following the team since you've been there, and every year I get more into them. And this year, especially, what an exciting team! I can't wait for the season. I am a Blue Jays fan, my friend, and I love watching that team. A lot of energy. And we'll have more energy next week right here. I know you're going to have a busy week because this bad boy comes out on April the 4th. So you can pre-order Gibby, Tales of a Baseball Lifer, Amazon.com, Indigo, wherever you get your books. It's going to be a big seller. And, John, you're going to be heading up to Toronto to promote this book. There'll be appearances that we'll announce. I know Costco is in to do some, and we're talking to other folks as well. So you will be heading up to Toronto, and you'll be meeting the fans up there as well. And we'll give everybody more information on that on the next episode. So until next week, baseball will be in full swing. My name is John Arezzi for John Gibbons at the Gibby Show. Have a great week, everybody. And let's go Blue Jays, and let's go Mets.